Hello everyone, this is Glenn Ingram with Web Search Pros, and I want to go over 12 things that your business website should be doing to avoid being sued. That's right, websites are being sued or businesses are being sued because of their website. My name is Glenn Ingram. I'm the founder and president of Web Search Pros. I specialize in ADA website design, SEO, and sales coaching. There are phone numbers, contact information here below. So let's get started. First and foremost, can people with disabilities use your site? Due to federal Americans with Disabilities Act and the California Unruh Civil Rights Act, ACE Act instead of ACE, typo, sorry about that, your website must accommodate and not discriminate against anyone with a disability. In testing over 1 million homepages last year, a company webaim.org, there's a link to their article, tested over 1 million homepages. Less than 3% were compliant and would be safe and not be sued. In 2018, there were over 2,200 federal lawsuits and 4,000 state lawsuits in the state of California. You can't be protected. You just need to partner with the right company that's dedicated to this. Number two, what types of disabilities are we talking about? We're talking about visual impairments, so people that are blind, people who don't see very well, or people that are colorblind. People with auditory issues such as deafness, hard of hearing. People that have motor skill issues, so whether it be a broken arm, not having an arm, maybe they have a disease such as Parkinson's, MS, MD, cerebral palsy, a stroke. If you can't use your hands properly, you can't use a mouse, so you have to make sure the entire website is built so that it works with a tab and the enter key on your keyboards. Seizures. You want to make sure that nothing is moving so fast on your website that it will make somebody with epilepsy have a seizure. And finally, cognitive and intellectual disorders for people with learning disabilities. We need to make sure that the website is simple enough that everyone and anyone can and will understand it. Does your site offer options to skip the navigation buttons? This is what is needed for screen readers. People with a multitude of abilities use screen readers. It's not just because they're blind. It may be because they have cognitive issues and have trouble reading. There are a multitude of reasons why people use it. So keep in mind, just as you don't want to look at every page, every button in a header, in the navigation that tells you about all the pages on a website, if you just want to scroll down and read the content, read the bullet points, skim it like you would a newspaper, this is imperative that you offer people that are using a screen reader the same navigation, the same opportunities that you have as somebody who can see. 90% of the websites that we audit do not work properly with navigation. So please be cognizant of this and understand that your website probably doesn't work well. And this is the most missed error by people who are trying to maybe make a quick fix. Does your site have the proper labels and codes? What's that mean? Again, whether you're working with a screen reader, does the different components of your site, are they labeled properly so that someone with a screen reader can use them? Are they labeled properly so that they can navigate around with a screen reader? So labels and code on your website are imperative, primarily for screen readers, but for other functions as well. Can someone who is colorblind see the information on your site? Keep in mind, 1 out of 9 men are colorblind. If there's not enough contrast, if they can't read your site, the first thing they're going to do is hit the back arrow and leave. So WebAIM has a contrast checker. Here is the URL for it. It's always good to look at the colors that you're using in your site and make sure that you have enough color contrast so that someone that is colorblind can actually read your information. Do you have videos on your site? If you have videos, they must be transcribed and have the ability to turn on closed captioning for those that have hearing impairments. If they can't hear and you're talking, if there's something going on your website that's conveying information in an auditory version, you need to make sure that it's provided in a non-auditory or a transcription, closed caption, some other way, shape, or form, so that everyone can understand and have access to all of the information. Does your website move? Again, this is what we were talking about. If it has flash, if it has animation, if it has a slideshow moving from picture to picture, we have to be cognizant of how fast is that moving because we don't want to cause somebody with epilepsy to have a seizure. Has your site been tested by and/or for all types of disabilities? Here's the reality. The best way to know if your site is working properly is to have someone that's what's called a native user, or someone that is using a screen reader, is using the tab and enter key because they can't use a mouse. It's by having someone use your website in a manner which they're used to know if there are any errors, if there are any functionalities that don't work. At the least, you need to understand whoever you're working with is doing those tests themselves, but the best way is always to have people use the features, the tools that they use every day to know if they work properly on your website. Is your website too fancy? Designers love to create fancy fonts. Here's the reality. We have an aging society, so some fonts do not expand well horizontally and vertically, so that as we're making fonts larger, for those of us to read that may need a little bit of a larger font because our eyes don't work like they used to, we need to make sure you're using proper fonts, proper color contrast. So where some designers really like fancy websites, you know what, I've never had a client, I've never had a customer complain because a website was easy to read or easy to navigate. So let's not get in our own way. Is your site architecture messed up? Again, with the way, take a look at the way you look at a website. Do you peruse it? Do you look at the bullet points to determine if you want to read part of the content? We need to make sure that the architecture and the structure of a website is built in the same way so that someone using a screen reader can peruse your website just like you can as a sighted person. So we have to make sure that website architecture is built properly. What screen readers are we talking about? JAWS is a widely used one. UserWay is a very good tool. NV Access is a good tool. They all have different price points, probably different capabilities and abilities. So these are three of them. Feel free to do your own research and see what other screen readers out there that you may want to try. All computers come with a built-in auditory or accessibility tools. So take a look at your computer, whether it be Apple, PC, and see what tools come with it, or try one of these other tools as a screen reader. So, do people with disability have money? Yes. Keep in mind that 64 million people in the U.S. have at least one disability. 35% of those are of the working age. So, of the people that are working, U.S. adults with disabilities, they have about $490 billion of disposable income. The disabled category basically is about the same population size, or the same amount of disposable income, of African Americans or of Hispanic people. So they are very large demographics people. For discretionary income, they have about $21 billion. Again, the people with disabilities do have money to spend on products and or services. So if you make a website that works properly, you're going to increase your customer pool and the ability for you to sell your services or products. Here's a list of a bunch of links. I think some of these are great. Take your time to take a look at them, go through them. You'll understand more about what's going on with lawsuits, whether it be about hotels, restaurants, anything else out there. And Google ADA website compliance, ADA website lawsuits, and you'll get a lot more information. Again, in summary, what needs to be done? You need to make sure that your site works for any type of disability out there, or a person with disabilities. Does your site offer navigation skip buttons? Does your site offer proper labeling and code? Is it properly branded? Can someone that's colorblind see the information on your site? If you have video on your site, is it transcribed so that closed captioning works? Does part of your website move? If so, look at the speed at which it's moving. Has your site been tested for all types of disabilities? Is it too fancy? Is your architecture messed up? And what type of screen reader should you be using to try and test on your website? If you need help, if you've noticed that your website doesn't work for any of these things, please feel free to reach out. You can email sales@websearchpros.net or visit our website at websearchpros.com. Why trust us? We've been helping customers with advertising for over a decade. We've successfully built thousands of websites. We have happy clients for years. We stay up to date on the latest laws and trends. We invest heavily in our online training to ensure that we stay ahead of the curve. We develop user-friendly sites that convert browsers into customers. We just make sure we help you with your business. Again, feel free to get in touch. This is Glenn Ingram with Web Search Pros. That's the phone number you can reach us at for our Orange County, California office. Again, you can email us at sales@websearchpros.net or visit websearchpros.com. Thank you very much. I hope this was helpful.